speaker, Mr. Swapnil Ahir Rao, one of our alumni and one of my favorite student also. Sir has passed out in 2011 from our college, B Computer. And sir has started his career in August 2011 before the final year result. Swapnil has working in different technologies like PHP, Laravel, Vue.js, MySQL, AWS, and list is very huge and continuously going on. Currently, sir is working in Kimpress India as a technology manager. Sir is having 10 plus years of experience. Before current job, sir has worked in a wide area of domains where domains like real estate, travel, social, supply chain, and e-commerce. Sir is passionate about code and problem solving technologies. And sir has worked on all product companies where time is or may not be constrained, but quality is most important. Again, sir has worked with a different many other companies also, like paperfry.com, shadi.com, coxandkings.com, Zento System, etc. So I welcome our today's guest speaker. And now the mic is all yours, Swapnil. And dear student, listen it very carefully because सर भी आप में से एक है. सर ने भी यहाँ से पास आउट किया है. And sir know everything very well about our culture, about our students and everything, and how he has started a career. Swapnil, I also want you to share some your experience also. After your session, just share a small your experience about like how you have started your career and how you have grown up now. Like now you are at a very at a stage where it require a lot of years to go there, but within a very small time span you have at the top level in a web industry. So how you have reached to that higher level, also experience that, share also. So done from my side. Swapnil, you can start. Pooja ma'am, just give him a right so he can share the presentation. Hello, Swapnil.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So your last question is the answer is simple. You.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I'll explain it all to others. Okay. So I have full rights now for sharing the screen.
Yes. Yes. Pooja ma'am, rights दे दिए है sir को?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
The screen is visible for us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's visible.
Okay. So good morning, all dear students. Just to know, ma'am, which batch is this? Which year and
It's a yeah. They are a third year students. Some students are joined from Zoom, and we have also share a YouTube link. One class is from joining from a Zoom, and one class is going to listen on a YouTube in a classroom. So there are total 100 plus students.
okay.
They all are from third year background, and they are having a web technology as a course in their curriculum for a third year. And this session is actually we have arranged so that students should understand what are the latest trends and technologies, what are the different frameworks which are going on currently working, and if they want to choose a career, so in which area they can choose a career under a lot of range or a lot of domains in a web technology. So
Okay.
just guide that, and again after in a question answering session, if student want to ask something, so yeah. Just slide share शायद करना पड़ेगा सर आपको आपके साइड से.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it visible as full screen?
Yeah. Now it's visible.
Okay. Good. Very firstly, thank you for this opportunity. It was planned very earlier, but couldn't happen. So today is the day where we can see each other, at least on the Zoom. That's fine. So Already the introduction is given by ma'am. That is perfectly all right. I mean, nothing more on that to add. Just I would like to say thanks for this opportunity, and I'll try my best to give you the all of whatever I have knowledge. I'll try to transfer you guys. Secondly, I just want to mention here before this call. So this session should have you not a session. It could be the moreover I would say like a talk between you and me. So it shouldn't be a barrier of any language like a how I ask you and whatever the language you feel comfortable, you can ask the question at any time. Because the agenda of this meeting or agenda of this discussion is to clear your doubts and get the clear path. It shouldn't be the barrier of any kind of English language or kind of any other circumstances or any other things. So just forget about that and just simply ask the question where you get the clarified answer. I'll try my best, and if I couldn't answer it properly, definitely I'll get back to you after some channel, and then I'll try to best to give us answer. So very firstly, web technology. So this is the just one part of the our IT industry, and where I have a expertise so that I can handle it more significantly and I can guide you more. Therefore, I have chosen this topic. It doesn't mean the only this option have we have in industry. There are many lot of others. I share in the last slide where the career options and career paths are there. How many of they are? So it's not something I have filtered. That's the only jobs in the market or only the possibilities of technologies are there. There are n number of technologies and everything is there. But still, I have chosen something which is really important and which have a massive impact in the current industry now. It may or may not be your related to your syllabus, but yes, it's an advanced technology, and yes, you have to adapt it for the upcoming jobs. And every other 3 years down the line, new technologies come into the market where syllabus may not exactly get replaced similar time, but yes, you have to adapt it. Otherwise, you will be just wiped out from the industry. So that is something I have collected from my last 10 years, where it's the which are the products or which are the technology that stand behind, and you can work on it and you can basically do your job. So very firstly, I'll start with the agenda. So what I'm going to explain here. So we should know like what we are going to do. So many of times you have oftenly heard these kind of words like a front end developer, back end developer. Somebody wants to be a full stack developer. Somebody are not interested in code, but they want to be a deployment level, just like the cloud computing or something else. So I have just categorized these all sections in the four ways, and the last part is IT careers. Where are the technologies I have included? Where you can choose the technology, you can get the skill set, and choose the title of your job. So that is something differently. And in between, if you feel like you have any question, you can raise your hand or ping on chat or just interrupt it. It's perfectly fine. I mean, no bother. So let's start with the front end. So basically, I just give you the normal example. So how you see the IT world, because many of you guys are working, not many, all of you guys will be in a part of IT industry where basically the parent or other people which are not from IT background, they just have a question in mind like करता क्या है तू? I mean, it's simple कि कुछ है ही नहीं साइट अगर डेवलप्ड है तो what you are doing development again there. So that is something really hard to explain them as a technical way, but you guys will definitely understand and visualize what I mean to say. So front end is simply where you can see whatever you see on your screen. So that is something related to your web browser, then websites, when apps and mobile screen you can say. So these are the front end technologies, front end integrations you can say user will interact with the systems. And what kind of technologies behind that? That is something I'll list over here. So these are the classifications I have done for the web and mobile. So very first job is there, which is something a designer. It can be a UX designer or UI designer, whatever you can say. So in the traditional way, where you are knowing it about the HTML, CSS, jQuery, JavaScript, yes, those are there. But along with that, what is required to do a good productive job? So that time you will be required a bootstrap. So when after your engineering, when you are coming to the market, and if you say I know the HTML, CSS, but that time it may not be a that kind of impact you have. But when you say I know Bootstrap, so it means you are knowing the one structure. how to be a bootstrap will work, definitely how to be a designing is going to be work. So that is you knowing something. So the whoever the interviewer, he will be definitely interested in your CV or in your interview, because he knows some, you know something that is advanced than the career. I mean to say the curriculums of the academic. So whatever the academics currently you have, that you definitely have to learn the things. But along with that, if you having a bootstrap knowledge, that will be plus for you if you are interested in designing platforms. So many of the guys are the creative ones. They want to create a very good websites or very good user applications or interfaces. So they need to learn this kind of technologies like a bootstrap. Also, Tailwind is the most popular CSS framework right now in a day, where you can utilize it and develop the site. So currently, I have what I have done. I have just listed the important name out there. So once you are interested, suppose two or three guys are interested in this design platform. So what they need to learn in future, they have to earn this skill set. Just simply go on Google or any Bing or wherever the search engine you want, and search for the Bootstrap. Once you landed on the Bootstrap site, definitely it will guide you from the installation till productive how you can work. So you have to study it thoroughly. So simply once you have done it, so it will add something plus badge on your career or on your CV. So this is related to design. So it's something bootstrap, tailwind, responsive, and dynamic CSS. Responsive means what? So responsive is something you just code once, but it appear in the two different devices or three different devices as per the screen size. So suppose I have created my website in the responsive mode. So it means when I'm seeing it from the desktop, it will occupy the portrait mode. When I'm seeing it from the tab, it will just reduce its size. And when I'm seeing it from the mobile, so it will appear as a sorry, the initial desktop mode is a not a portrait, it's a landscape mode, and mobile mode is a portrait mode. So the site will be visible as a vertically, and your elements get will arrange in a format where it won't get overlap. So that is something responsive. Nowadays, responsive site is more important than the static site, because device can be anything. I mean, there are n number of devices in the market which may have a different sizes and shapes, but still your site website should get fit into that. That is something more important for designer. And yes, in that case, when you are designing it, your appearance should be similar. So and opinion should be similar only when you code it once. If you are doing two different codes, so you are creating a two different version, then you have to maintain the both. Like once you have changed something on the website, then you have to change it for mobile too. So you can reduce that time by using a responsiveness. So you can just create simple one time and the one solution for entire web industry plus mobile industry. So that is something responsive. And so I'm talking about the CSS, which is dynamic CSS. That is something you're coming with the technologies of SAS, LAS, LACE. So those are the advanced technology of writing a CSS, where the media library you can occupy it and use it. In earlier days, I remember when I want to use the icon for the website. So it was a one image of the hundred of icons over there, and we were just matching the uh, whatever their coordinates and just showing it that part. So it was something very, I can say, very lengthy. It was taking a time to load. But nowadays, everything is converted into SVG. Just like as you want to show the pencil for edit, so you can use that SVG. If you want to save button, you can use that SVG. So everything is differentiated in the SVG format. So that is something you can say the part of dynamic CSS, and definitely it's increasing your speed or interaction of the site, and that is important. So this is something for the designer. Whoever interested in the designing platforms, they can learn these things. And this is not the only thing. These are some few selected which I have selected and you should know as a designer. Along with that, there are many things like other softwares where you can use it for a development basis on the HTML, CSS. You must have heard about Web 2, Web 3. So that is something you need to learn differently. But these four elements are really important in designer CV. If I talk about a framework, so what is a framework? So framework is nothing but your library. and your support system from the community where you don't need to redevelop. Suppose you and me decided, now, okay, we want to create a one website we'll use for the Angular one. So we don't need to worry about how will the Angular work and all and that all. So basically, framework will be there, libraries will be there, everything will be handled by that. You just need to write down your business logic where what you are going to do. Are you going to create a registration page, or are you going to show as a home page or something? That is something, it's purely related to your business logic, what your client asks to do, that you need to worry about. Otherwise, the whatever the libraries you require, that will definitely come from the framework. So framework is nothing but, instead of your plain folder, it will have contain some folder structure with their independent technologies, and it will give you the platform where you can use the library. So there are three frameworks are popular in the market now, which are Angular, which is powered by Google. One is a React, which is powered by Facebook, and another is a Vue.js, which is powered by open source community. So I can't say which one is the best right now, but I can tell you why is the this trending now. So two things are very important for the trending technology. It's not something, there are many jobs are there, and the highly scale or paid scale is there. I should go for that job. You just need to understand the technology barriers and the development of your business knowledge. So these three are the very popular ones because of they have a huge community first, and everything is the correctify format only when the more people are more users, viewers and the users of there, then only the problem gets reduced. Suppose tomorrow introduce the new hot technology XYZ, and their community is just about only 1,000 people. So after certain time, it will become a stagnant, and nobody will be contributor over there, or nobody will be the problem solver over there. So that means whenever you are choosing a technology, you have to see first what kind of community it have. If the community contribution is a good level, it means whatever the problems you will be facing in the future, that could solve, or you can be a part of that community where you can contribute from your side to solve the problems. So these are the three frameworks: Angular, React, and Vue. These are the things you can say. How I explain you. So initially it was like a PHP side, how it was rendering. So on the server side, your PHP script was executed, the HTML page was created, and then it was sent to the client. So you can see if something like this, okay, if something like this happened in earlier days, and you have seen assume the hypothetical seconds now. Suppose you as a client requested a one request to the server, it took 1 second. Then after the page creation take place on the server, it took another second. So it's a 2 second, and when it's coming back to your responsive site, it took 1 more second. So basically earlier development or a traditional way, it was taking a 3 second to load a page. But now what will happen in the Angular, React, or Vue? It will just request to your server. It won't ask you to make an intelligence on your page. Just give it back to me. I'll develop my page. That is something technology. So we have separated client responsibility and server responsibility from each other. So Angular, React, or Vue doesn't matter. They'll just send one request to the server. The required data, it will get it in the JSON format or any other format, and they have their own capability to develop the page on the using of computer or mobile site. Basically we are using the power of your computing product. Basically it could be a laptop, it could be iPad, it could be a tab, or it could be a mobile. So we are using that power to ensure your site will be as much faster. So therefore this technology is becoming the trending technologies nowadays, because everybody wants to the fastest site. If you know the internet rule, sorry, it's my bad. Okay. If you know the internet rule, after a 3 second, user won't wait for your site. If it's rendered, it will he will use or she will use. If after a 3 second, if not render, he'll just left the screen. That so therefore nowadays it's a huge competition between this website creation is not the problem. The serving is the problem. How fastly you can serve, that is more important. Therefore, these kind of technologies are really important in the framework of Angular, React, and Vue. So I'll just explain one more part of this technology. So React, I'm not sure about the Angular, but I'm definitely sure about React and Vue. So React having the Redux technology, and Vue.js is having a Vuex technology. So what it is basically? So it's basically something even your computing in your computing computer or in your mobile, it browser contains their own memory too, executional and the operational. So that is something they have a power where you can use it. So something I have fetched one data from the server, so I can store it in that memory and I can reuse it from the different I can say the pages. So Vivex is a something or Redux is a something giving you the holding the information at server client side, and it can be served within the site when it's required. So just a simple page. One is a listing page, and once you click on the any single item, that item should get open and it should say show you the detailing of it. So when you are showing it by clicking, it won't send one more request to your server and come back with the data. It's already having, and it's not only in your page, it's somewhere stored in the Vivex technology where from you can extract it and just show it. So it means in the next cycle, so if the first cycle it was for a 3 second, it reduced to one, and then after the second cycle of your weaving the page, maybe the not 0 second definitely, but some microsecond would be, because your page is already loaded and you have already the information, you just need to show it and off it. That's it. So this is very important key point why it's required. So if I'm not using this technology, if I'm going with the another one, just like a jQuery and all, it may have a computing power, it may have something, but it also depends. If you have developed something like on the response and request and response basis, so it will take time to load. But your site is based on this technology, it will give you the faster implications or faster results. So that is something you can achieve from this framework. So anybody have any doubt about it? I can explain more. Otherwise, we can go further. Just acknowledge some.
किसी को कुछ भी डाउट है जो जस्ट आस्क, ए क्लास अगेन बी क्लास जो यूट्यूब से पूछ रहे, तो आप सर के साथ डिस्कस करके आपके क्वेश्चन वहाँ पे बता सकते हैं। और अगर आपको लग रहा है कि लैंग्वेज चेंज करना है तो भी आप लोग काइंडली यू कैन जस्ट हैव अ इंटरेक्शन। यस, एनीथिंग वांट टू आस्क बाय स्टूडेंट और एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग परफेक्ट? yes student, Amit sir.
Okay, I mean, can we proceed further or
Yes,
okay?
we can.
Okay,
Yes.
fine. Okay, so student, definitely whatever you have doubt, please ask, because uh, at the last definitely you can ask, but currently whatever you have seeing it as a problem, you should ask immediately so that it will be clarified for not only you, for all the guys who are attending. Okay. So the first interaction we talked about, which is something the web and mobile. Now also the popular thing is app. So we have a, whenever the website or any kind of product is get launched, so they have a three inputs, three entry gates. So first is the desktop, which is a website, another is a mobile website, and third is the app. So nowadays the app is the most significantly or most used input side for the any kind of thing. So suppose you want to say like how many percentage of users are came from the other platform. So that time you will see if only the 10 to 20% are coming from website, whereas the 70 to 60% are coming from the either mobile, 80% remaining 80% are coming from either app or either a mobile site. So you have to target that audience. You shouldn't be just focus on website and the desktop oriented, so that you will lose the 80%. If you just focus on the 80%, you will lose the 20% of your uh, user base. So you have to always think about in the format of targeting 100% users, so that your conversion ratio or lead can be converted into the maximum form. So there are two type of app developments are there. The one is native and another is hybrid. So native is definitely already all guys are knowing about the Android and iOS. So Android is a basis on the Java. So basically, if you want to be an Android developer, so you must learn about the Java, and along with that, some other technologies may have used in the Android where the how to build the APK and all. So that you need to learn about it. And why native and hybrid are two differentiation are there? Because native is coming with the devices where the companies are also giving you the opportunity to develop their own community apps, so that that will be a more comfortable with their devices. So just like Android app you are developing, so that time using a camera, using a screen, using any kind of sensors and all, so it may not produce the 100% accuracy on hybrid, but definitely it will support the native because those devices are meant for that. So only the advantage, suppose now how you need to choose the technology between the native and hybrid. So suppose you are developing something sensor based something like thing. So that time you should go with the native first because you are depending on the result on the depending on the exact input too. So you have to go for native in that case. But suppose you want to create an app where there is a no much the sensitive data is not there, but the application can be differently. It can be served from the server more than the input of your devices. So that time you could choose for the hybrid. Just like as the best example of hybrid app is a Facebook, because Facebook is not developed on the native; it's developed on the hybrid, where it can be served from the both the platforms, just like as a native plus hybrid. Just a second. Sorry for interruption. Okay. So yes. So important factor for the native and hybrid choosing. So when you are required some data from the exact the devices, so that time you should go for the native app because the accuracy is more important in the result when its input are morely required. And you if you want to develop the app which is data will be mostly served from the server, that time use the hybrid. Because in the case of company, if we chosen to the Android, so that time it will be lose of the audience from the iOS. If you are building on the iOS, so then time we may lose the audience from the Android. But the company should have budget that time where they can hire two different developers and team and develop the both the apps. But for startups, definitely mostly go with the hybrid technologies so that they won't need to a specific don't need to go with the specific Android developer charges or the iOS developer charges. Another advantage of hybrid is mostly based on your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So these three or four technologies I have enrolled here, which is a Cordova, Ionic Framework, PhoneGap, Flutter, are required the basic knowledge of your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So whoever the web developers are there, they can also learn this technology. Only the building the app, that is something different. You need to learn from the documentation, but rest of the things definitely you will be already having in mind of how to create a page, how to create a services and all. So therefore this is important. Electron.js is a newly emerging technology in the market where it just not provide you the hybrid of Android native. It also provide you the desktop creation. Suppose your website, you are Slack is the best example. If you are knowing it, Slack is the one chat application where mm, it generally used for the companies where internal communications and all. So Slack is having a website, Slack is having the app, and Slack is having a desktop application too. So it's totally developed in the Electron.js. And now again the question why I should learn the Electron.js, because if you are working with that product, their input users are so variant. I mean the websites are there, apps are there, desktop applications are there, mobile applications are there. So you don't want to build a team where independently work on the different platform and then after you have to combine it to all together in the one product. It means when something is changed on app and you have to reflect it everywhere, so you need another team for developing everything. But in case of Electron.js, what will you get the opportunity? Once you have code it, you just need to create a different builds and then you have to launch it. That's it. In a single code, the multiple platform gets served. So that is something app development is having the power where you can code at once, but you can use it at multiple platforms. So if you understand it, why it's getting centralized? Because the single developer can handle multiple platforms. It means he or she is a valuable developer. I won't say Android or iOS developer are not much popular as compared to hybrid. It's totally different in the different zone because iOS may having a different kind of just like as a XYZ company is there and they are just like they are building a smartwatch. So smartwatch is nothing to do with the hybrid. They want to create a definite or accurate combination between the your watch and your app. So that time they'll require the important information from the device. So that time we should go for the native, and therefore the native value is more over there. So totally depending this choosing of technology totally depending on your business knowledge. I mean business knowledge or business requirement. What I mean. Okay. Shall I move further?
Yes, Swapnil. Yes.
Okay. So this is something front-end technology where I say what kind of user interactions are happening over there. So once user are accessing your screen, that is something for the client side. Now the entire things are coming to the backend now. So what is backend? So backend is simply जो हमें नहीं दिखता है. So that is something backend. So once the input users are accepted on screen, then after whatever the process is happening, just like as your request will go to server, server will talk to your database server talk to your some of the nodes, and the result will be computed. Then after it will be returned back in the response to the your screen. Till the time it's totally entire the things are depending on the backend, and whatever you are computing on the front side, that will just render your result. So it's accepting the input, send it for the backend, and whatever the results are came from it, it will show or display as a W. That's it. So now we'll talk about the backend. So backend, again, these are the listed technologies and the listed framework which are widely used, have a good community, and the its real jobs are happening in the current market now. So therefore I have already added a one note over here. Pick the only popular ones. There are many frameworks in the market. So I have chosen few technologies over here. As per your interest, you should know which language you are liking it. So then you need to choose the framework accordingly. So if I talk about me and myself, I love PHP because I know I started it from PHP since 10 years. I'm learning it still the now, and its community is very huge and its a contribution towards the technology is very huge. So therefore I followed the PHP, but it doesn't mean I should create a blank folder of PHP and I started my building own everything like a library, composers, things, and everything I shouldn't write. I just need to focus on my business requirement where what I'm going to do. If I'm developing the paid selling site or an e-commerce site or a social media site or a blog site, I just need to think in that perspective where which kind of database I have to create and what kind of functionalities or user interface I need to create. I don't need to bother about the how it could be, developed in the libraries and all. So for that, I'll go for the Laravel framework because Laravel is the most popular framework nowadays in PHP, where they have a huge community with the libraries, components, supports, everything is there. Uh, you just need to focus on your business knowledge and business requirements, and you need to just develop it that simply, as simple as that. So similarly, the PHP is the most popular one. Along with that, Node.js is a trending one because of the one more advantage of Node is a multi-threaded language. So it won't wait for your response. It just conquer the many kind of input at a time. So simply I'll say if PHP have a capability to serve 1000 requests in a 1 second, so where Node will having the 100, 1500 till 2000 serving the request at one time. So there is an advantage of Node definitely because Node is a multi-threaded language and also it having a socket programming. Now, PHP is not the socket programming language, but yes, it can be achieved through the pusher and everything. So, basis on the business, how you want to be develop your site as a faster or more secure, or computing is a more, that that basically the input for choosing your technology. And also, I'm not the best person to tell you which language you should go for. It's really the only you can choose the technology, and then you need to figure out which kind of job you can done in that. So it's now I'm in a PHP, so I won't say like I have to go for the company or a bank development side where the transactions are happening, because I know that's very limited market, or it may be a negligible market. So I know PHP very well, so I need to go for those companies which are based on the e-commerce one, or the other on the social platform, just like as a work on shadi.com. It's a social platform, you can say matrimonial platform, and it bases on the PHP only. So I can use my technology over there, I can learn it more, and I can do it. So something block related and everything is happening till in PHP. But it's something just like as a image related something you want to learn, and you are interested in image related something like image processing and all. So that time you should go for Python, because Python is having a more computing power than any other language. It can compute many things. I mean, if the PHP is executing 1,000 line in a 1 second, the Python will execute 5,000 line in a 1 second, because it have a good computing power. So every language have their own vertex, but depending on which you want to use or which you are liking it to work on. Okay. So you once you have choose the language, then you need to choose the technology. Sorry, the web industry where it gets basically applied, and then you need to search for that job. If I want to go with the insurance policies, or if I want to go with the banking domain and all, those are totally depending on .NET, because money is there, and others are the open source technologies. So bank or the financial institute may not trust on open source. They'll say, okay, I'll pay for Microsoft, but I need more security because my data is more precious for me. I don't want to be compromised with the computing power. Okay, I'll wait for the sometime. Your bank site may not be a very fabulously look, but they are having a good enough security as compared to other than any other site. So that is something which going for the .NET. And also there are two more languages in the market, which is a Golang and Ruby on Rails. So Golang is a language again powered by Google. So again, it's important. You can learn it, you can figure out the job, but then you need to check the market, like how many jobs are there for Golang. If the market is huge, then only you should enter in there. If market is not huge, so you have to think about it. You just know, don't wait for that opportunity. You can switch the technology, you can learn something, whatever you are liking it, because see, those are all the oops oriented language. So what if you ask me what is the common between all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 language? So it's the oops. If you are having a comfortable in oops, every concept you are knowing it perfectly, you can work on any language in this. So once you have chosen this language, then you need to target the industry where it's basically used, and then you can go for the job. So for simplify your job, I just listed out here what kind of framework you can use. So if you chose the PHP, you have to learn for Laravel. Don't learn directly the PHP independently. It starts from the Laravel. So it will give you the opportunity of how you can create the request, how you can entertain the HTTP request, how you can respond back it, how you can develop the API. So you can learn the PHP along with Laravel. If you are interested in to learn independently PHP, then Laravel, it also fine, but it may take time because you need to explore everything by own. Then you will take advantage of the framework. So it's really up to you. Okay. If I talk about Node.js, actually 160 and more frameworks are existing in the market for the Node.js, but most popular is the Express because it's coming with the min stack, and min stack means just like as a, you have a server, then Express.js, Angular as a front end, and the MongoDB as a backend. So it's coming with the min stack. So therefore, it's a popular one. You can use the Express and develop any site on the Node.js. For Python you want to go, then Python is having a huge libraries in a different way. But if you want to develop a website, the Django is the framework which will serve you the most important things from the framework. So whatever the web related things going to happen, it's definitely included with the Django. For a Java it's the Spring. For a .NET it's a C Sharp. For a Go language it's a Go Buffalo. And for Ruby on Rails Ruby is a language. Basically, it's known as R also. R language is nothing but the Ruby language, and their framework name is the Rails. So it's altogether known as the Ruby on Rails. So this is just the introduction of the technologies which are currently exist. If you want to deep dive into it and be a backend developer, you have to enter in that particular section and learn the many things around it. So you have to first clear your oops concept in any language, then choose the any language from this, and you can work around it. So that will give you the more power of that language. Okay. Okay. So once the backend is developed, so that backend is depending on the two inputs. One is a session based, one is a API based. So session is something your website, once you logged in, there is a session will be created and you will be served from the client to server with the session ID. But there are the app devices like a app, and the app is not having a session at anymore. So session is not there, then it will be a API based. API means it's a token based. Once you are logged in, the token will be generated and that token will serve to your devices. So this is the well happening as a transaction between the client side and server side. Some data get generated and some data get consumed. So suppose you are doing a registration page, so that time your name, email, phone number, and password get saved into the system. And when you are trying to log in, it will try to retrieve the combination of your username, password, and that if it's matching, then it will serve for the token or it will serve for the session. So that data some has to reside somewhere. So that residing platform is the database. And that database having the two differentiation. One is a relational database and one is a non-relational database. So in relational database means SQL will be possible over there. Let's like a select star from XYZ table, where the XYZ field is equal to something. And along with the join, you can join the tables and all. So there are two open source popular frameworks which are MySQL and PostgreSQL. Those are open source and more secure, so these are widely used. But if you want to build a banking site or something, then you can go for the proprietary solutions, which are sorry, Microsoft SQL and Oracle. Database having a database having a lot of computational power than any other technology, because it's related to data and it's based mainly based on the data how you can use it. So it having a different kind of computing power, you can use it. So basically, if you want to retrieve a data faster from the table, you can create the indexes. Basis on the indexes, you will get the result fast. Whichever the in earlier it was taking 1 second, now it will take almost some microsecond only, just like that. Also, depending on the solution of like what kind of data you want to save. If it is a non-relational data, generally it's called as a NoSQL. So it's a MongoDB, which is a document-based database. So basically, it is nothing to do with the relation. You can't use join. You can use join, but ultimately it won't fire on the document. It will be treated it something differently, and it will give you the data. So MongoDB is a document-based data structure where you don't need to create the fields. You can, basis on your inputs or the data, it will generate the fields basically. So in the RDBMS, you must have created a table which having a 5 field. So 6 field cannot be adjusted there. Or if you want to add the 6 field, you will add the 6 field, and the rest of the 5 fields will be null for it if it's the 6 is required. Something relate that. But in the non-relational data, it won't happen. For the first 4 records, it will be containing 5 field, but for the sixth record, it will be containing 6 field, because there is a new data introduced in the sixth field. And that also again be a one of the JSON format data. So that is something different. So you have a flexibility of saving the data over here. Now, Redis and Memcache. Redis and Memcache are the flash memories where you can use as a serving the faster, just like as I tell you, when it's come into the picture. So we have a cities table, right? So generally that cities table or a states table or a countries table, not much update frequently. So that time what we can do, we can, once the query is fired from the backend on the database, that data we can store into the Redis and then serve. So next time what will happen, if somebody is requested for Bangalore, so it will come to Redis and it will serve from there. What is the information about Bangalore? What is the ID? What is the uh, any other villages in that Bangalore city and all? It will serve from there only. If it is come for India, again India related data will be served from the Redis only. So it won't go to your database and actual firing the query. So you are saving the time. So you are, I'm just explaining those things where the key points and why it's required and why it's introduced. Because the people may ask the question like, if I having a YSQL, why should I use the Redis? So you just need to understand the purpose of Redis, why it's introduced and why it's used. So it's a caching memory. It will cache your data from the database and it will serve back. So that what will happen if you are again considering the hypothetically 1 second for each. So first time it will taking a 1 second from taking the data from table, it will store into the cache and serve back. But next time it will the serve from only cache. It means it will be a minor impact on your site. So again, the resultant of your site is much faster than previous. Again, it have a limitation. Redis you can't use as like a 200 GB. You have some specific limitations over there. Just like considering a small scale application and it having a 2 GB. So Redis independently it handles if data is slow more than 2 GB for caching, it reduce the data which is older one. So it handles independently where you don't need to worry about it and you don't need to manage the cache. You just need to set the time to leave TTL for it. So after a 2 hour, after a certain 1 day or something, it will just release that memory and it will be again free for the new data capture. Memcache is an older technology and Redis is a newer technology. So you will say like, why should I go for both? If I'm knowing the Redis which is new in the market, so I should learn that only. But if you are going in a different company where the Memcache is already in place, so that time even though you are knowing the Redis, you have to work on Memcache. Therefore, you should know it and you have to learn it. It's almost similar technology, but something having a advantage with the Redis that will give you the more power to use it. So therefore, I introduced both. Also, I guess last line is not visible, which is Elasticsearch. So what is Elasticsearch? So MySQL come with the some limitation where you can't do the index on every single field, and obviously you can, but then after what will happen, your insert and update will be get slower because of the too much indexing over there. So that time whenever you are searching, just like as if you are on Amazon, you are searching for the products, there are n number of products are there, and your filters are also n number. You want to change the price, you want to change the color, you want to change the shape, you want to change the delivery time. Many of the search criteria are differently working on the data and data filtration is happening. The Elasticsearch is the only solution, or a Solar. Similar older technology was Solar, newer technology is the Elasticsearch. They can handle this kind of request. If the similar query, if you are firing on the MySQL, it will take around 3-4 seconds to given back to your result. So again, I in the earlier I told you like, after 3 seconds, if user want to wait for your site, he will use. So we want to serve immediate basis. So therefore, the Elasticsearch is the solution where you can serve the user as much as possible and as much as accurate when it's required to user. Because user is very precious nowadays. I mean, he just like as a act as a genie. He said like, hey genie, I want this. If you don't give it, I'll ask for another genie. So it will simply, you don't want to lose your customer. You have to use the correct technology to serve the purpose. Otherwise, if you are choosing a technology differently and if you are choosing a business differently, it won't be a good pair. And only the good pair can be run your things better. So therefore, this is importance of database understanding. And yes, when you are choosing a career, it shouldn't be only basis on the one technology. The supportive technologies are also required, because see, if you want to be a Python developer and you said, okay, I'm just learning Python so long back and I need a job now in Python. But what when it comes to the Python job, you must know at least one database, because you need to serve the data, you need to save and serve the data from something else. Again, if you are working with it, you must be needing some technologies where your code should be in a that slide actually coming in future. So that your code need to be maintained somehow. It won't be you are the only one which you are working with. There are other 50 developers also working on the similar framework and similar a file and you want to share the code between them, so you need a version control of Git or something. So like that, you need to upgrade yourself as a technology. At last, I'll show you my CV, like how I need a technology, like in the complete package of a developer. So this is something about database. We can move further. And anybody have any question, just raise. If not, we'll go further. The silence I'm assuming as a positive. So I'm moving forward. Okay. So this is the Git I was talking about, version control. So basically, I have a one file which having 100 line of code. Now you as a developer and me as a developer working on the same file. Then something the feature you want to make it live, and then after I need to make live, your code should be reflecting me. It shouldn't be like you coded something, it went live, and then after I worked on that site and I replaced your code, and I went with the feature B. So feature A might get have replaced from the site. So how we can prevent this? I mean, we can't trust on each and every developer, like they'll take care of the thing of not moving out the features or the code from the repository. So version control is in place. So very popular is the Git because it's a work on a distributor format, and another is the SVN, which basis on the centralized format. So it will help you to address that file or address that code for all entire department or all entire developers community, or your company's developer can work on the single file at a time. If you are committing on something line number 10, if I'm committing on something line number 11, both will be reflected in the system. And unfortunately or fortunately, you are changing the line number 10 and I'm changing the line number 10. So it will give the priority who push first. So if you push first, then the Git will take care of it and it won't accept my code. It tell me, hey, the XYZ guy already committed on line number 10 and you are also want to changing that line. So now it's your responsibility. You have to accept his code, or you want to replace your code, or the third option, you want to keep it both with the manual intervention. So that is something important. That system will tell you how to react with the system, a code, and the maintain the both the parties code. It shouldn't be the loss of one. So that is very important role is driven by the Git. So when you are learning something in the Python, definitely you should learn Python, but you should know Git too, because very first day when you join in a company, the one important doc will come to you. Okay, you have to set up this repository and you have to start with Git. So that time you shouldn't face any problem while writing the Git command to just fetch the repository from their server to your PC. So that is important to learn the version control. The another important factor when we were talking about the frameworks, so I told you you have to just focus on your business knowledge and the requirement. So that time which kind of libraries you are using, that will be taken care by the package manager. So suppose today I'm using the AWS technology, and AWS technology need have a something the library. So I don't need to rebuild those library, I just need to use in my system. So I'll go in a composer. So whatever the keywords you are seeing here, you can Google it and learn the technology. I'll just explain you why I'm using it. So I'll just go into Composer and say Composer update. So my Composer update will go into the Composer JSON file. It will choose the library of AWS SDK, and it will check for the AWS server what is the latest version you have. And if it's matching with our version, it will give us back. So that libraries is get updated in future by the AWS. I don't need to worry about it. I just need to simple run a command like a composer update. That will take care of by the command to update the libraries. So there are two type of code. One is a Git code which I committed and my team is using it, and there is a library code which we don't really code it. It's something we have outsourced and we have just introduced our system. So we don't need to commit in that. So we can ignore it from Git, but we can update the libraries from the external parties. It's very simple. Just like as I'll tell you one more example. If you are working on the e-commerce site and you need to generate a PDF format of invoice. So tell me, what is important for you as a developer? You just need to important to get the information of our business address, what kind of quantities are there, prices there, and what kind of, lastly after a taxes, what was the figure. So that is the information of business knowledge. But the library's knowledge is different. How to build a PDF on using a PHP. So it will be entirely a different library. Any question, ma'am?
No, no, no.
Okay. Sorry. So you need to understand what is business requirement, what is library requirement. So library requirement is that when I write something as a code, create PDF and XYZ parameter of this dimension, I should get the blank PDF. So that will be done from the libraries, nothing from your side. You don't need to worry about how to develop the PDF. You just need to configure the PDF, what kind of size you want, what kind of color you want, what kind of length you want. Simple, that's it. And then you need to write this business information on your that PDF and just generate it. So that is the importance of library management, which is something Composer does for you. What is NPN? NPN is again in the client side technology or in a Node.js, you can see whatever the components or whatever the libraries you require, you just install it from the server of the third party, not from your side. Very specifically, I'm telling you. Those are the services of libraries you are just installing on your server or your computer and you are just using it. You are not developing those libraries because you don't need to invest your time again redeveloping the libraries. So therefore, NPN is there to serve for the JavaScript library and Docker. So what generally happens? Suppose company started in 2010 and they have a PHP site is working on the 7 something version, and another after a 2 3 year they have created a one more product and it's working on the 8 of Laravel. The PHP. So for the server, it's definitely manageable because one server is meant for a 7 version and one is meant for 8. But as a developer, you want to work on the both the side, because as a developer you are contributing on the side A as well as side B. So that time your system may not act as a 7 and 8. You have to choose. You have to switch in between, right? So therefore, Docker came in place. So Docker is helping you to set up a development environment where you can run different containers with the different versions, just like as a what is called that virtual machine. Okay, so it create a one virtual machine for you to serve the Laravel, the PHP 8, and another virtual machine for the PHP 7. So this is something for the library management of again the your development environment. You don't need to worry about it. So if you are working on it in a future as a developer, you should know the Docker, how at least Docker, like how to run the container, how to start with it, how to involve the code into it, and how to get the result out of it. Definitely whenever in a company you are joining, that those guys will definitely teach you how to use a Docker. But before that, if you are knowing it, it will be a very plus for you. Therefore I'm just highlighting these points over here. The last point is ID. IDs means something. It's a development environment, integrated development environment. It means you are using which kind of IDs you are using. Just like as I am using PHP Storm for PHP development. So it will give me a colorful syntax. It will give me the guidance where the functions is deprecated or not. Which kind of the when I start the curly braces, it will show me where it should end. If I miss the end, then it will show me the red line. This is the error where you may face the error. So instead of going on the plain notepad or notepad plus plus, you should go with the proper ID. If you're working on PHP, you should go for the Storm PHP. Maybe it's a paid version, so you can switch to Eclipse. If I talk about something .NET related, so you should install the Visual Studio, because tools are something, the arm as a developer, arm developer, it's not something we need to fight with our two hands. We should have our gun and definitely a different kind of whatever, it's invisible format of our weapons basically, that ID provides you. ID provides you the shortcuts of writing code. When it's somebody is a designer, he will just write HTML, enter. So HTML block will directly appear over there with the Docker. So doc type is there, something script is something, style is tag. So that is something you're saving the time. So as a developer, you have an invisible weapons should be with you as an ID, so that it will speed up your writing code or speed up your development, instead of rethink everything, rethink and redevelop everything on the notepad days, or Suppose there are the structure of the 5 or 6 class are extended each other. It's not possible to jump on the notepad side. I'll show you in the demo also at the last if required. So you just need to click on class, it will jump to another file. If you click on another class, it will jump to another file. So those files are getting changed. So that will give you the you have to think what to be right in class. You don't need to worry about how it will link and everything. How you just need to once define the namespace, it will act as an involved files, imported files, not as a excluded. So therefore, you should learn the proper idea of proper technology. You have to just Google it like a hey, which is the good uh, ID for the Python. So it may be a PyCharm because it's a popular one. So you should install it first and then start with the Python. Don't go directly on the Notepad++ and start writing Python code. It will not serve the purpose. It will, ask you the more trouble like how to install libraries, how to get involved in it. So you should go with the IDEs. That is important. Now, we talked about the front end and the back end. So what is full stack? If you come into the market, there are many full stack requirements are there. So very simple. Whatever I have explained for the front end, whatever I have explained for the back end, all together it will become a full stack. It's a simple rule of full stack is equal to front end plus back end. So if you are knowing the one technology from front end, which is a Vue.js, one technology if you are knowing from the back end, which is Python or a PHP, you are becoming a full stack developer here. And if you go to the startup, so basically startups are generally, they have a less budget. So when they are expecting some tech guy with them, so they expect from end to end solution he or she should provide. So it comes with the development too, deployment too. So whatever you are currently developing, just like as a client side you have used Vue.js, you developed the design. On the backend side, on the PHP, you have developed something, but then it has to be go something on live where the people can get served. That is called the deployment. So deployment is coming with the infrastructure, server, and of their backups. So altogether is a full stack developer. Till the time, any question? Yes, no,
Yeah. Hello, Swapnil.
yes,
Yeah, it's really, really awesome session. I must say you have covered all the things very detailed. Means from start to end, means everything. It's a flawless, all about client side, server side, deployment, full stack developer, career option. Means I hope and with example in detail. Means if you are working on which project, then which technology you should go for. So many of the questions has been answered very properly, and
okay,
whatever I have expected, the session is more better or more far than whatever I have expected. Really a wonderful session. I personally enjoyed it, and personally I think it's a very knowledgeable session, and definitely student will like, and as it is live on YouTube also, if something is missed by the student, because it's really some part is very new to them, because they are
yes,
having very basic knowledge only about HTML, CSS, because only 1 or 2 unit they have just studied currently. So
yes,
after just completed by their whole course, again they can go with your session once again, so that they have a very good knowledge while they are going to develop a mini project, or if they
yes,
select web development as their final year project. So definitely all your points will help them a lot. Yes, students, if any doubt you have from your end, you can ask, or any feedback you want to give, anything from your side, it is valuable for me as well as Swapnil. Okay, Swapnil, I will share one feedback form with students. Okay, so where they can, if they are having any of the doubts, or they want to ask like personally on some of the point to you,
yes,
so they can share all their doubts or their feedback, what they like in this session, everything. So I will share that feedback with you, so you will have a like you will know like what the student understood, and what
yes,
if,
yes.
Yeah. And again, if we want to go for some live session also, so from all this technology, what technology they will be like interested in studying all that thing?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm happy to serve that. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, do
Yeah.
you have any time constraint, or I can continue?
Uh, Actually, 5 minutes we can go ahead, no issue.
Okay, it's
More
almost
5 minutes.
close.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
So, uh, so last thing is deployment. So I already explained you, like whatever the code you have developed, you have to deploy it somewhere, so that your once you deployed it somewhere, then only the users can use it. So popular framework is for that is AWS, which is the Amazon Web Services. So when it comes to the Amazon services, you have a two option where you can choose the server based or serverless. So these are entirely a different technologies for you. You can be interested in that as a DevOps engineer, so that you just you are not doing as a code, but you are just deploying it on a server where you can make a useful it for the others. So AWS is the most popular, like a 70 to 80% sites are, I mean, using it somehow. And the market share of Microsoft and Google Cloud is bit compared to less than that, because those are having a different kind of thousands of services are provided by the AWS, where you can start from the very scratch till deployment in the very good format. So that's it for the cloud. So deployment part is, I won't stretch much, because I just wanted to give the highlight where you want to set up your site. That is something as an option. Now, if I talk about the career options, so I have listed here the all important things from the career, where if you want to be a part of one technology, one title, so then you can what need to be learned first. So I have just categorized simply on the basis of software engineer, or you can say as a developer or a programmer. Then the skill sets you should have from the web or a mobile or a app or a API. Game developers also considered as a in the programmer only, and full stack backend, front end as a technologies you can say. So this is something related to software engineer. Along with that, you need to choose the language. Along that, you need to choose the framework. Along that, you need to choose the technologies of the serving purpose. So everything you need to think on, learn on the basis of the requirement of this. If I talk about the day ops, so day ops something, those guys are important for the developing deployment of your site. So that is something AWS, which is Amazon Web Service, with the thousands of services are there, like a CloudWatch, S3, then SNS, SES. Many of the services you should learn from it to deploy it. Then cloud computing, infrastructure development. Yes. So infrastructure development, initially it was something manual. You can deploy the server with the constant setting the constants and all. But nowadays they have introduced a Terraform, which is a language. But you have to write a code like a okay. So threshold is beyond the 30 of the microsecond and all. You should launch the third server of it. I'm just saying it in English, but it can be turned around into the Terraform format, and your new server get launched through the script when the criteria get matched. So this is very a different kind of infrastructure level coding, which can be scalable up to uh, the requirement of a business. I'll just give you the small example. We have a working site in Germany. So basically, on the all the 8 till 9 months, it's having a XYZ, just like as 1,000 service per second we are expecting. But in case of but in case of Christmas and in a December, we directly reached someday around 5,000 or 600,000 requests per second. So that time our server get crashed. So therefore, how we have prevented it? We have written a script in a Terra format where the scalable infrastructure are introduced over there. So what will happen if the user base is increased? Our server sizes will get increased. Once user base gets down, then server sizes will be reduced. Just like as a one server is serving for 1,000 people, immediately 5,000 people are came into the picture. 2 3 server immediately get popped up and serve them. Once the user is left the site, that server again will decrease to 4 3 2 and 1 to normal. So that is something we can prevent the site crashing, for the infrastructure development, for the data engineer, analyst, and scientist. Those are all related to each other, but your career path is totally depending on the how you are doing it. If you are becoming a data engineer or scientist, it means you are gathering or collecting the data, which is something related to big data, Hadoop, and DBA. And if you are becoming an analyst of it, so you are doing it as a data warehousing, Power BI tools to generate the report. How we can use this technology in our system. So generally every company create their graphs basis on day-to-day life, like last year how much the sale it was, nowadays how much sale it was, last year this Monday till five last years of Monday what was the sale, and today's Mondays what is the sale. This cannot be easily calculated on the MySQL basis. That will be calculated on your Power BI tool. Like you can set some parameters and you can retrieve such kind of information from it. So these are really important to analyze your business. IT security. As soon as you launch your website and people are using it, your second concern is about the IT security, because it shouldn't be a hack. It should be a hack proof. It shouldn't be a leak proof. I mean, your data prevention is more important. If you talk about the Europe side, they have a GDPR rules. If personalized data is get leaked from your site, the huge fine is there. Just like company may get shut down because of this rule. So it's not something. Even though if you are writing the cookies on your user side, you need to consent from him. That consent is doesn't properly said, like what you are trying to write on his machine. Also, the whoever the users of that site can sue your company, because without asking that person, we have written the cookie on his machine. So that is really important. Is a GDPR rule. Quality analyst, whatever you have developed before delivering to the server user, actual user, you should test it. Otherwise what will happen, if you are delivered with the bug, so the people or the user will be get frustrated. So therefore the quality analysis team is also involved here, like a manual testing, automation testing, writing the script to test automatically in the Selenium technology. That is something different. CDCI is the continuous development and continuous integration. Whatever the new features are get added, it should get auto tested and then auto deployment on your side. So whoever is interested in the quality test, I'm a kind of person. I don't want to be a part of development, but I want to test how it's working. Then I should know this kind of technology. These are the technologies. Those have real jobs exist in the market where they are really getting used. I may miss some technologies, but still these are the important ones. Even though game developer and game testing is nowadays a booming industry where you can be a part of that industry and earn well. Some hot technologies I'll tell you here. Those are emerging technologies. I haven't seen the many jobs around these technologies, but definitely in 5 years, these are the main dominating player in the IT industry, which are blockchain, which is something related to your cryptocurrency, IoT, Internet of Things, where you can be interact your devices, the physical devices with the internet, and you can operate it. AI, artificial intelligence, where you can train your website to handle the users. You don't need to manual intervention over there. ML, which is a machine learning, whatever the data gathering is happening from the user, basis on that you can create a different algorithms or different challenges for the company. That is come into the ML plus DL. It's a deep learning and machine learning is kind of same. Machine learning is something machine become a more smarter than consume data, and deep learning is the analysis of a data where you have already done the data gathering. And yes, lastly, I have introduced here VR. It's a virtual reality. Definitely, you must have heard about the metaverse. Last year, it's only get started. So it will be a launch of Web3 technologies. So initially, it was something like text-related industry where there about a WWW. Now W2, it was there where the interaction happened through the video and all. And then now Web3 will be in the market, which is something you will create your own virtual characters over there in the site, and it will interact with your input boxes and everything. So these are the important factors I have just collected. You can learn through it or you can just look over it. And this is something the treasure I can tell you, uh, for the as a developer or as a IT guy, what should you have. Your presence is see, there is one line, if you are not online, you are dead for the internet. So how you can be online or how you can create your footprint? So I'll just suggest you these links. I'll post my webinar list, sorry, the PPT list in PPT link in the chat. So you just need to visit this all and create your profile first. So how it will be helpful for you? The LinkedIn profile you should create first, because it is your professional behavior or your professional information is collected over there. Stack Overflow, where question answer format, where how you can contribute the question, you can answer and you are asked the question. Stack Overflow is a very vital role in the developer's life, because we may not learn everything, but the question which we are facing definitely had someone else earlier and he have solved that issue. So you have to learn how to solve the issue by using this kind of question answer format. GitHub you should have, and you should contribute your open source technologies or open source whatever you have in mind. You can just contribute to the world. If you are facing issue with the CV builder, you should go with the CV builder at craftmycv.com. You can just input your thing and it will give you the nice CV of yourself. Job portals equally important. Like you should enroll yourself in Naukri and Indeed. So these are the these are many, like Times job is there, my Monster job is there, but these two having a good result. So therefore I'm giving you this link. If you are interested in remote work, you should go for the Turing and Top Coder, where from the home you just need to attend the test, and if you are selected, you will get placed in that company as a remote developer or a remote support. How you can improve yourself by using technologies? So coding challenge is important. If challenge is there and you can accomplish it, then you can be creating your footprint on the world. So there are important sites: TechGeek, Hacker, HackerRank. So if you are attending the challenges and developing it, so you also get placed. If there is a bonus of that, like a 1 lakh, 2 lakh rupees is there. Sometimes it could be like you can get placed yourself in that company if you crack their code. So this is important. You should register yourself here. And the study material, definitely you will be having the many of the things, but still I have given you the most impactable things I can learn it from here. Roadmap.sh is important, from where I have retrieved the many information. You just need to go there and see what kind of title you want, and for that title what is the requirement of it, so you can go on it. So simply, I want to be a backend developer, so I'll just click on backend. Then it will tell me what is the requirement of backend developer, what you know. Okay, so it's showing Go. You can click here. You can learn about Go. What is a Go? What is Rust? If I'm saying what is PHP, so everything is information is all linked up together for the backend developer, and you should know about it. Like earlier we talk about CDCI. So you must have a question: what is CDCI? Go there and read. What is the continuous integration? Continuous deployment is the practice of the automation. So this will give you the overview, not the deep knowledge, but overview. And from here, whatever you are getting the information, you can Google around it and learn those things. So this is important. Okay. And lastly, any question, answer from your side? I'm happy to answer. Any question?
पूजा मैम, उनको अनम्यूट करने का परमिशन दिया है ना हम लोगों ने?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. If you have anyone have some query or you want to ask anything, you can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, kindly explain me about Flutter language, which you have covered in last PPT.
Okay. Flutter is powered by Google. So basically, currently what happening, the hybrid applications are emerging in the market. So what, and everybody wants their own community over there. So Google introduced the Flutter over there. So what they have asked us to do, like you can develop your app on the Flutter, so that it will be a more conveniently compatible with your Android first, and also it will useful on the iOS too. So therefore they have introduced the Flutter. I mean, the Google is already having their native app in Android, but still they want to capture the market of hybrid technologies. So therefore they have introduced the Flutter. That's very simple. Is that your answer?
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Okay. Any other question? जो भी क्वेश्चन है बिंदास पूछो। मतलब कोई भी क्वेश्चन सिली क्वेश्चन नहीं होता है, वो इन्फॉर्मेटिव क्वेश्चन होता है। जो इन्फॉर्मेशन आपके पास कम होगा वही क्वेश्चन आप पूछो। क्वेश्चन से खुद को जज मत करो कि ये अच्छा होगा कि बुरा होगा। अगर कोई भी सवाल नहीं तो दो ही पॉसिबिलिटीज है, या तो सारा समझ में आ गया है या तो कुछ समझ में नहीं आया है।
नहीं, एवरीथिंग लैंग्वेज इज बहुत इजी था समझने के लिए। मेरे हिसाब से हर चीज बहुत अच्छे से क्लियर हुआ है बच्चों को। एंड इफ दे आर हैविंग एनी ऑफ द क्वेश्चन, मंडे को मैंने मेरे लेक्चर में और एक लाइव सेशन, मतलब एक सेशन ऐसा रखा है जिसमें आज
अच्छा।
के टॉपिक पे हम डिस्कशन करने वाले हैं स्टूडेंट के साथ। अगर वो टाइम मुझे लगता है कि कुछ उनको कुछ डाउट है, कुछ भी क्वेरी है, कुछ पूछना है, तो आई विल डेफिनेटली कन्वे ऑल द थिंग टू यू, एंड आई विल ऑल्सो शेयर द like feedback link with you, so that student will understand। और सर ने लिंक जो है उनके पीपीटी का चैट बॉक्स में भी शेयर किया है फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स। सो थैंक यू सो मच कि तुरंत प्रेजेंटेशन अपने शेयर किया। अगेन आई विल शेयर द सेम विद अ टीबी स्टूडेंट, बिकॉज एज दे आर वॉचिंग ऑन अ यूट्यूब, तो दोनों क्लास के व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे वो जो भी सर का पीपीटी का लिंक है दैट आई विल शेयर। यस, थैंक यू सो मच सर।
आपसे सर सुन के अच्छा नहीं लगा। एक लास्ट थिंग, मैंने प्रॉमिस किया था मैं एक सीवी दिखाऊंगा, तो उसमें 2-3 मिनट बोल सकते हैं।
या यस यस यस, 12 बजे हमारा एक दूसरा सेशन है, तो वी
हाँ।
कैन हैव अ 2 मिनट इन आवर हैंड, वी कैन
ओके।
गो। या
तो ये मैं एकदम सिंपल बता देता हूँ कि सीवी कभी भी 2 पेज से ऊपर नहीं होना चाहिए, आप कितने भी एक्सपीरियंस हो। तो वो चीज़ हमेशा ध्यान रखना आप, कि 2 पेज से ज़्यादा बड़ा सीवी नहीं लिखना है। और दूसरा कि सीवी में बहुत सारा एक्सप्लेनेशन ही नहीं देना है, क्योंकि सीवी कोई नहीं पढ़ता। सीवी में बस हाईलाइटेड पॉइंट्स होने चाहिए। जैसे अभी मैं बता रहा हूँ कि मेरा ये कॉन्टैक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन है, सॉरी, ये कॉन्टैक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन है। दूसरा मेरा समरी है। तीसरा मेरा स्किल सेट है। तो आपको सीवी इस फॉर्मेट में अगर बनाओगे तो उससे एक फायदा होगा कि जो भी स्क्रॉलर्स है, अगर नौकरी पे आपने खुद का सीवी डाला है, तो उनका क्रॉलर स्किल्स के अकॉर्डिंग, इन प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज के अकॉर्डिंग पीएचपी को ट्रेस करेगा। तो मैक्सिमम पीएचपी के जितने भी जॉब पोस्टेड है वो सारे के सारे मुझे आना शुरू होंगे। अगर मैंने ऐसे पीएचपी ऐसे लिख दिया तो शायद आई कैन मिस इट। तो ये एकदम छोटी सी गलती है, बट आई एम जस्ट हाईलाइटिंग इट। तो तुम्हें स्किल सेट के अंडर ही ये सब चीजें लिखनी है। अगर जो भी एक एज अ डेवलपर हम सोचते हैं कि मैं मुझे पीएचपी में करियर करना है, या तो अगर मैंने किसी को बोला कि आई एम अ पीएचपी डेवलपर, तो पीएचपी डेवलपमेंट इज जस्ट वन ऑफ माय वर्टेक्स, बट along with that I am learning this kind of frameworks, this kind of technologies in the database, this kind of NoSQLs I need to use, template engines I need to know, फ्रंट एंड में मुझे ये पता होना चाहिए, टूल्स में ये पता होना चाहिए, सर्विसेज मैंने आज तक कौन कौन सी यूज की है वो सब पता होना चाहिए। उसके बाद अगर मैं अपने आप को बोलता हूँ कि मुझे एडब्ल्यूएस आता है, तो एडब्ल्यूएस की थाउजेंड्स ऑफ सर्विसेज है, उसमें से मैंने कौन कौन सी सर्विसेज खुद इंप्लीमेंट की है वो एक एक वर्ड मैंने यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है। तो इससे क्या होगा, अगर कोई भी कंपनी का सीवी अगर जॉब निकलता है, तो उसमें ये सब चीजें वो देखेंगे मेरे सीवी में कि मुझे क्या आता है और मैं क्या लेवल तक का हैंडल कर सकता हूँ। तो ये सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट सेक्शन है आपका स्किल सेट। अगर इसको आपने जितना अच्छे से लिखा होगा उतना बेटर आपको रीच मिलेंगे। अदरवाइज मैंने जितनी भी जगह पे काम किया है वो सब मैंने हार्डली 2-3 लाइन में लिखा है, विच इज जस्ट गिविंग मी माई ब्रीफ इन्फो, बट इट्स नथिंग टू रिलेटेड विद द जॉब्स। तो यही एक इम्पोर्टेंट चीज बतानी थी। लोगों का सीवी आता है कम से कम 7-7, 8-8, 9-9 पेज का आता है, उसमें क्या पढ़ेंगे उनके सीवी में। तो यही बेस्ट है कि आप अपना एजुकेशनल इन्फॉर्मेशन, सर्टिफिकेशन, पर्सनल इन्फॉर्मेशन, ऑनर्स एंड अवार्ड्स आप थोड़ा नीचे लिख दो, बट इम्पोर्टेंट है सबसे ये फॉर्मेट स्किल्स
स्वप्निल ये बहुत अच्छा इनपुट
category.
दिया है, बहुत अच्छा इनपुट दिया है, बिकॉज स्टूडेंट एक्चुअली दे आर डेवलपिंग अ सीवी. वी हैव टेकन अ लॉट ऑफ सेशन ऑन दैट, बट जो आपने इनपुट दिया है, आई होप इट्स वेरी वेरी गुड. अगर प्रॉब्लम आपको नहीं होगा तो अगर आप ये सीवी आप शेयर करोगे मेरे साथ, सो आई कैन शेयर द या सो आई कैन शेयर द सेम विद द स्टूडेंट ऑल्सो. वो हम स्टूडेंट के साथ शेयर कर देंगे ताकि स्टूडेंट को अभी ये थर्ड ईयर की बैच है, ऑब्वियसली अभी ये बी में जब जाएगी तो इनको ये सब चीजें लगने वाली है सीवी के साथ, तो दे कैन स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग अ गुड सीवी फ्रॉम थर्ड ईयर इटसेल्फ. थैंक यू सो मच.
माय सीवी मेरा खुद का ही प्रोडक्ट है.
क्या बात है, बहुत अच्छे से बनाया है, बहुत शॉर्ट एंड स्वीट एंड कवर्ड ऑल दी पॉइंट.
तो मतलब अगर सीवी बिल्ड में किसी को प्रॉब्लम होगी तो वो ये देख सकता है, क्राफ्ट माय सीवी.
या craftmycv.com. so students just write down this craftmycv.com.
इंपॉर्टेंट लिंक्स में भी मैंने मेंशन किया है. अगर आपको सीवी लिखना है तो बस आपको टेम्पलेट चूज करना है कि कौन से टेम्पलेट में मुझे बनाना है. अगर मुझे नाम मेरा लिखना है तो मैं यहाँ लिखूंगा स्वप्निल आहेर राव, और ये व्यू जेएस में डेवलप किया है तो आपका प्रीव्यू तुरंत ऐसा दिखा है.
क्या बात है, क्या बात है,
और
बहुत
इसको आप
अच्छा है,
डाउनलोड
बहुत
कर
अच्छे
सकते
है.
हैं.
मतलब ये कुछ तो नया है शायद से, जो बच्चे दे विल डेफिनेटली डू दिस. स्वप्निल हम और एक सेशन रखेंगे, हमारा मन नहीं भरा है एक सेशन में, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो स्टूडेंट्स डेफिनेटली सीखना चाहेंगे. सो इन दिस सेमेस्टर डेफिनेटली वी विल गो फॉर वन मोर सेशन फ्रॉम योर साइड.
बिल्कुल.
Yeah, just thank you so much.
थैंक यू.
Yeah, I'm just ending the meeting.
या
Yeah, Pooja ma'am, you can end the meeting.
Ma'am, can I end the meeting?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can.